Okay, so, whoops, can't get both your faces there. Okay, so I'm here at Desert Hills and with the biology team, and they've been playing around with flipping instruction. And so I just came here for lunch, and they happened to sit down and start showing me their data. Okay, so just briefly, what have you guys been doing a little bit?
So this last unit was on patterns of inheritance. So what you think of there is Punnett squares, and so that's the majority of it. And we're flipping our classroom. Another member of our team is not, and so we've been comparing data.
So you're using your common formative assessment data to know if it's working or not.
Right.
Awesome.
Exactly.
So that's nice. You scientific group, you have a control group.
Right. It's very true.
That's awesome. So describe the flipping. What part did you flip?
And so what we do is we record our lectures, and then we create notes that students have to fill in. And they watch the video at home, and that's their homework. They're watching the lecture. And then when they come to class is when we give the instruction, the lab, the practice. And like that's when they need us the most. When they're actually applying this stuff, not when we're just talking at them, giving them the information.
So what's this doing for your time in the classroom?
Oh, we can go through stuff so much faster. Now.
And we have time to do labs. We have time to just do a lot more hands-on.
Hands-on.
And that's what we were getting frustrated with before, because they, we would have to we would do the lab and show them. But we want them to do it, and now we have time because they come in with higher knowledge.
So student responsibility for learning is increasing.
Yes.
Your amount of kids engaged in the cognitively rigorous stuff, the lab itself, is increasing in the classroom.
Yeah, we're even doing data on engagement, and we're seeing
we have data now.
Really positive increase in engagement.
And how are you gathering the engagement data?
So we're using third parties coming in, and every 2 minutes is saying, is our student on task? And going through every single one.
Is that student on task?
So
is that your learning coach that's gathering the data for you?
Yes,
that's awesome. So you're using him as part of your scientific data collection.
He's really cool.
You guys are so organized about this. This is cool. Okay, so what are you seeing in the data? So wait a minute. So just recap here. Cognitive engagement increase. The amount of time that the kids are actually spending engaged in 21st century skills like collaborating, communicating, critical thinking and stuff has increased in the classroom. And there's more student responsibility for the work. And they're actually not just you've handed off the responsibility, but they're grasping that. They're taking that responsibility.
It's fun. There's a zero excuse now. When they come in, I wasn't here that day. Well, your notes or homework online. You still didn't do them. So there's just no excuse.
But now our students are going at their own pace. And so they come in. We take a quiz at the beginning of class, and depending on how they did on the quiz is what assignments they're doing during
class. Or if it's a big lab, we'll all do the lab together. But
generally we're really individualizing their education.
So right off the bat, you're able to differentiate and intervene for kids that didn't get the concept.
And there was that grasp it, great, let's have them do it digging deeper. And they can go even further with the content that's not required, but they can still go there, and they should.
Wow.
I don't see kids in our classes that are bored anymore.
No.
They're
they all
so
have something
involved.
to do.
So it's
cool.
cool.
That's good.
That is so cool.
And we're critiquing all this. It's a slow process of this digging deeper is not working, or that needs to. So
very
it's a process,
cool.
but it's good.
Okay, so show me what you got in this data.
This is just of the last unit, and this is just our data. We don't have our third-party data yet, but we're seeing that our students. So there's 99% accuracy on this,
so
and
per question.
Per question. Let's see if we can get them. Probably can't get the data there, but that's okay. We'll just describe it.
And so then it's really cool because we can look at it and go, oh wow, 65%. What did we miss there? What concept did we not grasp? And we actually looked at this question, decided the question wasn't worded well. And then they did amazing on this and really.
Well, that's like a DOK too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there's definitely some high depth of knowledge there,
and state testing of being able to read and interpret that.
But what's amazing is
what testing tool are you using for this? Are you using Unified Classroom for the testing tool? Okay.
Now we, for this particular one, also did a paper portion of this exam, and this has very high levels of depth of knowledge. I mean, especially this question, you have to understand so many aspects
Okay,
to
yeah,
what's
yeah.
going
It was a
on
lot.
here.
It was a lot.
And
We were.
Wait a minute. I have to go back to this question.
We were getting.
What is the
scared.
probability of offspring having the Force? I didn't know the Force was a real
Well,
thing.
there
I
was
thought
a
it was
Jedi
Jedi
man
man
who fell
and
in
a
love with a
non-Jedi.
non-Force
Okay.
And
man.
I mean, it's
So-
X-linked, and didn't you know it's recessive?
I
But
did
apparently-
not know all this. Wow, the things kids learn in school these
know.
days. That's awesome.
So good.
And so we have fun, more whimsical ones, and then we have like very concrete, like
Yeah.
this is what happens in actual life,
Yeah.
questions.
So it's good.
That's
But
fun.
they did amazing. So like if you look at this one's my data. So those questions
It was again by question.
by question.
Yeah, that's
90
interesting. There's an outlier there, and that's the question you said you're gonna
Yes,
throw
yeah.
out.
exactly.
Mhm.
And so then we have on the paper part of it 85%,
This is all her classes.
computer 89%, and then total 87%.
Now that's an average score.
Yes, exactly.
What percentage of your kids were? Is this now? This is the end of unit test or the
Right.
Yeah.
end of
End
unit
of
test?
unit.
What percentage of kids did you have that met your standard by the end of the unit?
Oh gosh,
Oh, that's a good question.
that is a good question.
We don't know.
I'd love to sit down
Yeah, we
and
should. That's very
like
next
make
step.
that list. In my head, I want to say 98 plus.
Plus,
Yeah.
met your standard, and
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah. It was really good.
that's really cool. How does this compare to past units and assessments? Did you teach the same unit last year? This is your second year, isn't it? Both of you guys.
But first for biology.
First for
both of
biology.
us, first
Okay.
for
Yeah.
biology, so-
How does this compare to previous tests this year?
I was
Previous
frankly like amazed. Like we
Yeah.
were a little. This is hard stuff. Like
This
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
hard test.
I know it is. I've
We're
heard.
giving it to him like a good
yeah,
luck.
no, exactly.
So this was a harder unit than
than
previous units
Yes.
you've done, and their scores
We're
exceeded past
Yes.
unit scores.
Yes.
Exactly.
So it's
Yes.
more rigorous, higher results.
And I think part of it too is
I know, right?
High five on that.
I think part of it is us critiquing a lot. It took like we had several units like, well that didn't work, well that didn't work. So I think a lot this unit felt successful
Exactly.
with how we set it up.
Our flip classroom
So-
really came together. on
Yeah.
this.
How long have you been flipping?
This is the third unit.
Third unit, yeah.
So
So, like, 2
probably
months?
2.5 months.
2.5 months. Okay. So yeah, you've getting to the point where you're starting to feel it, get the
Yeah,
rhythm of it.
Really, we have a
Right.
rhythm down. And it keeps getting better, but we're finally
It's
like
been
in
a lot
our
of
groove.
late nights.
Yeah, I was gonna say because recording it, there is some upfront cost, isn't
Yeah.
it?
There is.
Recording the lectures.
Yes.
And getting the notes ready.
Yeah.
How are you guys collaborating on that so that it mitigates that
we
workload?
share a unified classroom, which makes a huge
Yeah.
difference.
So you have one class set up
Mhm.
that you then put into different sections for your different
Yes.
classes.
Yes.
So you're
That saved us
co-teaching.
so
Really,
much.
you're co-teaching,
Yeah, we are.
but you're split up into the different classes.
Right.
And the
so-
recording. Sometimes it's her recording. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
her
so our
recording.
students get both of us,
Yeah.
which is nice because if I don't quite resonate with some of my students and Katie does, then they have that
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
to
Now,
get
do
that
you
instruction.
both record each lecture, or do you alternate?
We share.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's something we'd like to do in the future is
Yeah.
have us both record it,
Yeah.
and so then kids can decide. Oh,
It's kind of the
I like
second layer, huh?
this.
Yeah.
and you could even put in some like Khan Academy or other
Exactly.
Yeah.
online
So
clips
true.
like that. So what are you learning from this that you would share with somebody who's thinking about flipping?
It's takes some legwork to start.
Yeah. Don't be overwhelmed.
Right. Don't be overwhelmed at first, but it's so worth it.
Yeah.
I can't believe the response I
Yeah.
had with it. So
Yeah. It's really good. It takes a lot of like weight off of you on the daily basis because it's just done. It's just set up. It's just there, and then
we can just keep improving
rolls.
it and
Yeah.
changing little things.
Yeah.
And, but gosh,
So cool.
It's worth
huge
it.
response, beautiful, positive response from our kids.
yeah. And it's okay for the beginning to be messy. It's okay for like your
Yes,
first test and your
exactly.
first
Sounds like
homework
Miss Frizzle,
assignments,
doesn't it?
not-
Take chances,
No.
make mistakes, get messy.
Life is good.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
excited to show this. Tony will love this. First of all, you know Tony, right?
I don't know.
Okay, Tony's our person that wrote the grant for digital teaching.
Oh,
Learning.
wonderful.
cool.
Yay.
And
Yeah.
and by the way, his 3 priorities in the grant are what I mentioned at the beginning: increase student responsibility and
Mhm.
ownership for learning, give them more control. 2 is more cognitive engagement, kids who are more engaged in
Yeah.
class. And the third one was increase the 21st century learning skills. And everything you described just
That's
resonated
everything
with
we
those
do.
3.
That's everything we do.
So he will be thrilled.
Yeah.
And also, one thing that my boss, Bob Sanju, always wants to know is if we're using technology, is that actually, are we just using cooler tools, or is it actually